Hello, welcome to another edition of Low Code Campfire. This is episode number 170 for November 1st, 2024. It's another Open Lines Friday. This is an opportunity we get together and talk about Plant an App and low coding, and opportunity for us to meet with the community, see what's going on with you. Maybe we work through issues and problems that you're dealing with in your coding, or talk about elevating the coding experience. This is all skill levels welcome. Everyone welcome to join, participate, and we hope that you'll get a lot out of this hour. We record all these. We put them on YouTube at youtube.com/plantanap. You can use that QR code to get there, or just use the URL. You can subscribe and hit the alarm bell, and that way you'll know when we post new recordings. We try and get them up same day that they are done. We run this agenda, a rough agenda, week by week. We introduce ourselves because we're a friendly group, and then after that we go around the campfire, and we always do first call, but we'll take a look at some other things. I've got a new contribution to our community website, our campfire website. We'll talk about other things as well. So do engage with us, jump in, show and tell. You can use the chat window, or however you'd like to interact with us. You can submit questions and topics in advance. There's this QR code, or you can use the super secret email support@plantanap.com. We'll get those and put them out first. Anything that gets submitted in advance, maybe I'll do a little research, maybe I won't, but we will put them on the agenda. Hello all. Stumbled through that a little bit. I've been being out a week. I just completely lost my mind.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I heard from Patrick. He'll be along in a few minutes. I assume he has something real important he's working on. But while we wait for that, anyone come with something we want to address first? Perhaps another way to say it is, anybody have anything interesting that they're working on?
Always working on interesting stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, okay, I'm going to just start diving into topics, see what I can provoke you into talking about. Maybe this is a good place to start. I updated. I've been starting to track where we are with version adoption, and let's see. I have a horrible scale here. I'll have to work on my graph. This is version 125 here, and so we have 26, 25, 24. I have no idea what happened to my labels, but the most popular, most adopted version currently is the version 125. 124 is the next with 28%. And then we have some stragglers, and I'm not even tracking below 1.20. But the main thing I wanted to get out of this is that version 126, which I think is the most, now that we have all the various hotfixes in place, the most stable and useful version that we've produced. Of course, we always think the latest one is the best, but we're about to come out with 1.27. I say about, soon, no date announced yet, but we're working furiously to get 127 out. So when you can, I would encourage you to move your instances up so that you stay in date with us, and take advantage of the new features that we're putting out. Any thoughts on versions that you're using, and anything particular holding you off from getting to the next one? Nope. Okay.
I am actually I'm using 126 with almost all of the latest hot fixes, and I'm very happy with it.
Well, thanks
It
for that.
works like a champ. I really like the improved load and save times on things like entities and so on as you're working.
Yes, no question about that. Workflows as well, that we're doing a lot more in memory and less on the file system, and whatever other magic they worked, caching or whoever, whatever. But it's definitely faster. It's a good reminder.
I would say I definitely noticed the same thing as well. And it's a really big incentive to, but you still have another site that's not been upgraded yet, and you revisit it and you think, oh my gosh, why is this slower than the other one? Yeah, it's an incentive to upgrade.
Yep. Yeah, that developer experience has definitely improved. So good. All right. Other things, we've been mentioning we will be attending and presenting at DNN Summit. For anybody who doesn't know, it's in Las Vegas, either virtual or in person. And let me drop that on the chat just for fun, if I can find the chat. There it is. Mark, any DNN Summit news you wish to share?
Oh, the push from the folks organizing that is just to, it's time for people to be registering and reserving their rooms wherever they choose to do that, hopefully right there at the venue. So the push is on to get registered and please come.
Excellent. All right. Next, I finally, in an effort to bring something of value to the group today, I got around to adding the contribution we talked about a month ago. This was Mark was interested in, I believe it was you, Mark, being able to export to Excel and use be able to have a hyperlink. And so I put together a little demo that shows exactly how to do that. So we've got demo data that has, I picked out news sites and the links to them. And if you use the download Excel button, we get a Excel file that has a hyperlink in it. Did you end up using this feature in your?
Yes, I definitely did. It was just what I needed. We figured that out together right here on one of these Fridays, didn't we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you created it as a contribution. That's nice.
So the pieces of that particular puzzle are that you there's a Excel function called hyperlink that accepts the URL and the friendly name. And so if you create so anyone creating an Excel spreadsheet by hand can use the hyperlink formula to build these nice links. And so what we're doing, let's find our way back here in behind the scenes. And again, anyone viewing this after the fact, everyone on this call already has access to this, but the campfire.planetapp.com website is one where if you participate at all in Campfire, you get access to this. And so then you can open these things up and see behind the scenes how they're done. So the view the data button is just a hyperlink to the data page. The magic happens here in this download button. We create a list from SQL. So that data that I was just showing a minute ago, we build up a hyperlink that includes the link and a comma and the name, all that put in quotes, and that's the link to website column in the data. So we get this, this is creating a list from SQL, so we get a list called XLS list, and then we're creating an Excel from that list, XLS list, including all the fields, and this is the magic here, clicking the use Excel formulas checkbox. So we built a hyperlink column, but you could build any kind of functionality like a sum or any of the functions that Excel uses could be placed in a cell in your data. And yeah, after that, it's just we provide this is the name of the file that it's going to create, and we're overwriting it and putting it in a temp folder, getting the absolute URL out, and then using the redirect to URL to output it as a download. So it creates it and downloads it in one step. Very easy. When I went back through this and redid this work, I started down the wrong path, which is we have another action. If you go to, there's a create Excel from a SQL query. It's just a going directly from SQL directly out to Excel. But the features of this one are slightly different. It does have the ability to add column names, doesn't have the option to do formula fields. And so I don't think you could get this one to go in one step directly, but there's so many different ways that you can create a list, whether it's from CSV or SQL or others, that the action to create an Excel from the list will let you do that from any. But it is interesting that the options are slightly different depending on which way you're creating the Excel. I won't save that change. So this is out there as a contribution to reference. I try to do a new contribution every week. Every week. Obviously, I fall short some of the time, but if there's anything that we've talked about before or that you want to see as a contribution, I'd be happy to get that in there.
Thank you, Dale. That's nice to have there. That definitely did come in handy for me.
Going to be one of the projects that I work on a nonprofit, and we've done mapping in the past, and I just wanted to mention that just an area that I've been working on is updating the mapping, the JavaScript to show the current location of the user. And without a lot of effort, I was able to update that so that it kind of every 5 seconds or so, it goes out and asks for the updated location based on the browser coordinates, and updates the location on the map. So the end result is that as you move, your marker moves on the map. It's kind of a cool little addition, and I just continue to be amazed at what you can do with our product together, perhaps with some help from an AI assistant. I'd be happy to show off that code if that was of interest to anyone. What else do we have? I think I'll stop for a minute and ask again if anybody brought anything to talk about, because otherwise we'll just dive down into community forum. There's been several questions that have been coming in through community forum. I want to thank all of you that have answered them, especially in my absence last week. I think there's several things that came in and people got really great answers and because they posted because of your help. So I appreciate that.
You know, Dale, since you mentioned that, there is something that is, I'm sure it's simple, and I've somehow missed it over the time of with PlantaNet, but I would like to be able to create a token that returns more than one piece of data, like more than one column. And I know you can do that, but that knowledge has evaded me. How do you get a second and third value out of a token?
Database tokens will do that. Is that what you're talking about, pulling information
Yes.
out of the SQL?
Uh-huh.
Cool, let's do that. Let's stick with the data that we were just working with, if I can find it here.
Yes, like you said earlier, see if you can invoke us to remember things we wanted to ask about.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben has already given away the answer.
Well, I tried that. I was having trouble with that, but it was only one try.
Well,
I mean, you know, one occasion where I tried to do it.
well, let's
I was doing something wrong.
just interactively mess with tokens a little bit. First of
It's
all,
interactively messed with Ben.
yeah. This right here, and Patrick's on now, so I can brag about him. Patrick did all of this work. But I can't say enough about the new SQL Console features that making it so much easier to investigate data. So we have, for example, this create select functionality. So you not only know all of your table names in all the different namespaces, but you get help creating them. So we have this, we have some SQL here that is getting data out of this table that we were just looking at, the news site table. And so let's say I'm going to do a where name is like BBC. So I'm going to get one record.
Mhm.
So this is kind of a pattern for being able to retrieve data for one record out of a database. We turn this into a token, so I'll copy and paste this, and let's use we'll use the test namespace. We'll call it the get news site token and make it be a database query. Use that same query we came up with, and yet instead of BBC, we'll say TKN params site name. So this is now going to let us insert it dynamically, the site name. And by default, we're going to come back, let's say, with the link. But all of these columns are going to be available, so we'll be able to get the name and the rank as well. So let's save and test that. And we're going to say BBC, and we get back the BBC News. And what was another one? The Guardian is there as well. So then, as get news site, I believe this is the syntax.
Yep. No, it's dot, and actually Ben just
It's-
pointed that out as too.
Yeah, it's dot.
Mhm.
It's not.
So all of these values are available here.
Ah, okay.
Whatever's in your select, right, it would be there. So however complex your select would be, you could pull from lots of other tables, but acquire, and this could be an asterisk as well, not just a
Yeah, I was
name.
just thinking about that too. The asterisk, you could do that, but it's really handy the way you've done it to, create it in the SQL console and then paste it here, because that way you know what the properties are when you go and look at it. We have that columns field there, but we really don't use it anymore.
Thought I could get this formatted, but I was an optimist.
Yeah, I think that only works with the date time token.
Although you could throw it into a relative too and get it to work as well. So
True. Yeah.
there are ways around it, but thought I could use it directly anyway.
So that's just what I needed. I know I was putting the column name like created date. I was putting that out at the end instead of where it belongs. And I was trying colon, semicolon, comma, so the right syntax makes a pretty big difference.
Yeah, I wish the syntax did follow the rest of the app, but is what it is.
That's probably why I was trying to put it out there at the end.
In the very old versions, we used to have the interface showed you the syntax and listed all the fields that were being created, which was kind of nice. I used that extensively back when I was developing in those versions. So you could kind of copy and paste. You wanted the new site name or the new site rank. It was just all there and you just grabbed it.
That sounds like a good idea.
Well, it was a nice feature that got lost when we did this newer interface. On the other hand, it was a cosmetic thing just in the interface for the developer. All the functionality remained exactly the same. So yeah, good question.
Yeah, thank you.
This SQL console, I was using this pretty extensively yesterday, and yeah, I think there's maybe another. Let me grab another thing and get it warmed up while I'm talking here. SQL Console is just, I think, really great for being able to, I mean, we've covered this before, I think, but that you can create selects and inserts, updates, deletes. And so just being able to get that information very quickly and anyway, I was using this yesterday to develop some SQL queries, and it's almost as good as opening up SQL Server Management Studio. I wanted to show off a new feature, or a return of an old feature, I guess. And that is we've revived, done some work to. Sorry, this is the latest and greatest install dependencies. This happens several times a day because they're working on the software while you wait. They're working on the software. But if you remember, the SQL has an AI assistant on some of our SQL actions. It's not in the SQL console, but it's in the SQL actions. And those are getting really smart. And so I encourage you to that's one of the reasons that you're going to want to get into 127. When I say really smart, when you have entities that have relationships and you're using this interactive tool to say, give me everything from my primary entity, and then you want to relate to the other if you have books and you want the chapters out of the books, you can say things like, well, give me all the chapters, and it does that inner join very well. Or you can say, create all the joins for me, and it'll do that as well. So for those who are too lazy to write their own SQL, which I'm raising my hand, that's me. Have you played at all with this feature yet, Patrick?
A little bit, yeah.
So for example, this is something. Let's first take a look at entities. I don't have any entities. This is a useless thing. Okay, let's do some. So let's do books, and
Is the reason that you like to use this name as an entity all because of Don?
absolutely, Don. Don. My first introduction to Don was all about that.
And he's not here to take the credit.
So books are going to have chapters, and let's say they are a chapter title and number. And this could be an integer. And back to books and have chapters. Which is a list of chapters. So out of all that we get, and I don't know, this might be a nonsense thing, but just will illustrate how good this is getting. Myself a little bit here. Chapters. Yeah, so from SQL Console perspective, we have books, and we can select them. But if you want chapters, the chapters that relate to the book happen through book chapters. It's an automatically created table, and so book 1 is related to chapter ID 1. Book 1 is also related to chapter ID 2. So this join table needs to be incorporated in order to get over to the chapters. Of course, this is our data structure. Your data structure will work as well. But I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to go through our list of entities and anything else. It's just the AI is smart enough to figure this out. As an intermediate step, we and Patrick built this, that you can extract the schema. So if you just want to be able to know it or document it or send it to AI to explain what the structure of your table looks like, you can do that. But the AI knows about all these. So here we go, finally enough to demonstrate my point. If we go to a workflow and create a new workflow, which, by the way, I don't know, did Bogdan talk about this, that we've got some more tabs here, settings?
You did last week, yeah.
Okay, yep, so we have settings. So on our process, I'm doing this just so I can get to the SQL action. SQL query action has this is where the SQL query goes. This is the AI prompt. I say I want a list of books. We get that all automatically. Be a little bit indefinite here and let it decide how to do that. So it joined through book chapters, and it picked, nice alias, and then got from book chapters to chapters. So as a result, we get the book name, the author, the chapter ID, the title, and the number. And we could go back and prove this. Oops, I can't do it here. I'm just going to copy that here and go to SQL Console and paste what it came up with and show off that it worked. So, some of the join structure gets pretty convoluted, not convoluted, detailed. If you do as you add more status tables and rather than using status names and types and categories and whatever, you might have many joins that need to happen, and that activity that I did that just says create all joins, it just figures out what the logic of your entities are and builds all of them. Then you can use them or remove them, or you could build just the joins you need, of course, but it's smart enough to know all of them, so that's kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
AI impacting our product in yet another way. Okay, so we were starting down the path of community portal. And I think most of these things got answered. This is a reminder that, there are so many little pieces to our product to know. I mean, by default, hidden fields aren't submitted, but there's a checkbox that allows them to be submitted. So that's the benefit of using this collective knowledge that are here on the forum. In what else? Thanks for jumping in on these things. Those of you who've been here before save a lot of time. Part of what we've been doing in what are one of the small things that we've been doing in 127 is rewriting our user management actions. And actually, we're just insulating, instead of directly calling the DNN ones, we're calling ours that call the DNN ones. So, for example, create user login, change password, things like that. It's given us an opportunity to test, to make sure that they exactly how they work and all of the on errors working correctly and things like that. I think we're headed that way. We're creating our own actions like that, just to I don't know, provide a level. In future, we may support more than just a DNN platform. So this is kind of one small step in instead of directly being connected to DNN to do it at a higher level, and yet remaining fully compatible with what DNN does. But yeah, we've been writing all those, and in our part of a project, our end-to-end testing, where we make sure that everything continues to run exactly the same as it did. We're trying to catch all the create tests to make sure that things, as we're working on things, that they come up with the exact same results from version to version. And yeah, so that's been an area where we've been working just to make sure that these user management functions work and work well. So I'm rambling a little bit, I guess. It's questions like these that make me stumble just a little bit. We had a client that was asking about getting an action form to pop up on a smaller device, and I went to do it, and it worked just exactly as it should. So I couldn't fit. Sometimes it's hard to figure out why things work differently between what we'd have access to and what you do.
Wonder if that's a Bootstrap 3 issue.
Well, that's a good point. I never saw a comment back on this particular one, but I opened this up, and it works interactively on a desktop, and then doing it on a using a QR code and getting into this on a mobile device, and it worked just the same. So it's a little bit of a mystery why. And it's always great when I can reproduce your issue, because then I can report it or find a way around it. But when it's
Actually, what you did there, Dale, where you mocked it up and you reported back, hey, this is working for me. That actually is helpful. It's not like a direct answer, hey, I found your problem. But on the other hand, when I have received messages like that from you, then that tells me, okay, so that means I'm doing something different or inaccurate, or my setup is, well, it's obviously not the same. And what are the differences? That actually is still very helpful.
yes, and I suppose not everyone responds back with, "Oh, yeah, I got it now." Lots of times I get that. I just like the closed loop of all that. So anyway, okay. I'm not sure, but I think that's all I had picked out. So you guys got to help me, or we just end early today. There is, I guess, one more thing. There's always one more thing.
You could go after a live one, Dale. I knew something was just posted on the community forum while we were talking.
Well,
Well, that depends. Is it an easy one, Mark, or?
It would be helpful if you have done this before.
Inline edit token. All right. Wrap my head around the use case here. When I click on inline edit, I want to edit column 1, but not column 2. Not, I want to show column 2. That, I'm guessing you could get there through query string, but you probably have to refresh the page. Makes sense. Because I think you can show and hide columns based on conditions. So you could set it up one way for let's do it. So I have this this button here that lets me set up the case. So let's set up a trial.
You've got a few minutes to figure this out, Dale, because I just emailed Wes so that he can jump on here.
Thanks. Drum up business for me. I appreciate it. All right. So I think the basic use case is we want to show one column in inline edit. Let's users grid, we can edit that. So let's just focus on 2 columns. We want to show one column in the normal, we're only going to want to show one column. So we can conditionalize this column to be explicit here, but we're only going to show this when we're editing. So this is the first name column is only going to show when we're editing. So by default, it's going to disappear. If we do that, it'll come back. And then for we can take this and the opposite condition for this one. Get one field the other. Inline edit button. That's available. Yeah, I think I got to do something to actually make the save happen, right? But anyway, so then if you have basically you're going to have a mode to switch into this.
was wondering, what if you when you go into editing, I'm guessing that the listing refreshes. What if you try to update that token right before you put it in inline edit? So, I mean, might end up having to be something in JavaScript, but I was just wondering if that would possibly work.
I'm sorry, say again what you're.
So, yeah, I don't think you want a condition on this because this button goes away when you put it into editing mode anyway. But if you took that, if you set the URL parameter right before you put it into inline edit mode in the actions on this button.
Oh, I see. So we do this, so make it be available all the time.
Yeah, just and this I have no idea whether it'll work or not. Just it's something I would try. So then add a, I guess you do a JavaScript, the update query string param.
Syntax.
Yes. And here we go. I'll send it to you. I got it.
So this would be. Thinking.
Yep. Once again, just a wild guess.
A good guess.
So
Did oh
yeah, it went last name is the field that shows when we're
oh
not
okay.
editing
Yeah.
in it, and so it was doing that.
Oh, it's worth a try.
Is there a JavaScript that triggers inline edit?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could also do you know, an event listener sort of thing too, but like but yeah, that's probably what it would end up having to be, something along the lines of an event listener.
So I'm going with edit these inline, and we can add another button that would be switch to edit mode, which would be come back to this page with what's editing. Requires an extra click here.
Oh yeah, but I guess I mean you could do that the same approach that I was talking about, and then add a a refresh of the of the listing, maybe update the query string param and then refresh the listing and then give it edit mode, maybe once again, just to to put it on one button.
Yep.
Might work.
So we're kind of there with 2 clicks, and then if you we have a on the inline edit, we should have a on complete, so we could redirect back to portal page with just nothing. Switch to edit mode, and it goes to the other field. Turn on inline edit. That's the trick right there, catching it on the way in to do that. And then when we save them, it puts it back to non-edit mode. So we can get close without JavaScript. We might be able to complete it with JavaScript.
Yeah, I think that you could probably do it with one button, maybe with yeah. But yeah, I think that's going in the right direction. It is an odd use case.
Did you think it was close enough that we can get there in 8 minutes, or do you something else you want to try with that, Andrew?
Oh, I don't know. It depends on anybody else wants to. I was just going to add to that JavaScript that we tried earlier, just to do a refresh to the listing and see if that so that it gets that URL param and then put it in inline edit. Although technically, it feels like you shouldn't need the refresh if your listing is listening to the URL, but try it this way and just to see if it does the trick.
Any particular delay you'd like to try here?
No, I don't think so. I think you can just leave that off.
And then what, inline edit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So yeah,
doesn't want to go there.
it yeah, I don't know. Maybe there would yeah. I guess it just can't happen on the same button. And sync with our URL was already there, so we didn't really change anything.
Yep. Okay. Well, we can at least thank you for pointing that out, that the question existed, Mark. I'll reply to Wes and pointing to what we tried today, and maybe it will spark something for him. Hello, Don, calling you in for coming in late. Did you have anything that you could add to today's discussion?
No, sorry I was late. There's a meeting that I go to on the first Friday, so I was there and got out early. So, and no, I don't have anything new to add right now.
Okay, because we were basically giving you last call. So
That's a completely different definition from what I'm used to.
yes, yes, indeed. All right. Well, I think I am going to call it then. Thank you all for joining Low-Code Campfire today. We always get into something for an hour, and we will do it again next week. Hang around for a few minutes if you want to enjoy Afterglow, and we will see you next week.